Hello there. So, welcome. Such a beautiful day in spring that I thought it's a great day to get outside and start, just refining our vitality and our ojas, so that stability in our body, that sense of building and strengthening and with a attunement towards really expanding and building energy. So the energies of spring and growth, but also refinement of our stability and our ground. So join me in this practice for probably a more maybe level two as far as physical challenge and strength, and in just building our core stability and expanding our energy into this, lightness of spring, roots and reaching. So, you could begin just by coming into your seated posture that is comfortable for you, either in Virasana or in Sukhasana, our easy seated pose. And just kind of drop into our intention, maybe refining it into your intention for your practice. You can close your eyes and just kind of take a moment to feel your physical body present here in the moment. So you take a drift down through your structure from the crown of your head, just slowly walk down through the forehead and the eyes, noticing the shape of your form and any related tension or ease through your jaw. Sense your neck and your shoulders. So, noticing how the muscles are organized around the bones. So, the musculoskeletal system, as you come down through the arms, the length of the arms and into the palms and fingers. Just coming back to the torso and sensing just the length of your spine. So let me sense now if it feels lifted, like the corset muscles or the muscles of your torso are lifting upwards, creating length and space in your 26 vertebrae, or if you're a little more collapsed. And just take a notice there and maybe lift from the crown of your head, almost a sense that 360 degrees of your rib cage is lifting up towards the sky. As you come down to your abdomen, just take a breath and notice the abdominal wall from your lower ribs down to your hip bones. From the space between your hip bones, just take a breath, maybe expanding the belly slightly, just feeling a little softness in the abdomen to breathe. Just noticing the muscles supporting our torso into the side waist and the oblique muscles. Around to the lower back. Sensing and noticing this physical structure of our hip joints. And that shape of our perineum, the pelvic floor, diaphragm, pelvic diaphragm, between the pubis and the two sitting bones. to this. And down through your legs, shape, and into your feet. Just touching the earth, your legs right underneath you. Start to notice your breath. So as you're breathing in and breathing out, start to sense a bit of the breath coming lower into the belly. So we notice the abdominal wall. You could even place a hand there. Starting to deepen that breath a little bit, just feeling expansion on the inhale, slight expansion of the belly. As you exhale, gently pull the belly in. So we're starting to feel this 360 degrees around our midsection and our abdomen, just breathing, expanding on the inhale, and drawing inwards on your exhale. Just an even breath today. Just feeling that breath move in and move out. It's going to help refine these core muscles. And the next time you exhale, just have a slight lift to your pelvic floor. So a sense of drawing your sitting bones towards each other. And I have a sense that that pelvic floor is slightly lifting up into the body cavity here. On your inhale, you could release the pelvic floor a little bit. And on your exhale, gently squeeze the sitting bones towards each other, even the femur bones slightly towards each other. Just feeling that lift in the pelvic floor. It's a little connection to Mula Bandha. We're going to go ahead and come onto our hands and knees now as you release. And finding a table position, spreading your fingers wide, pressing down into your shin bones, and starting to really refine and feel the core muscles. So through a Vyagrasana movement, tiger movements, we're going to press into the right hand, the left shin, reach the right leg out, left arm extends, coming into spinal balance. Right, just to begin to connect before we move into more dynamic movement, just extend and reach. And as you press down into your shin and the palm of your hand, start to feel that wrapping sensation around your midsection, so that core vitality. Working with the physical today, Anamaya Kosha. Let's take one more breath. As you drop that left hand to the mat, keeping that right leg extended. Take a breath in, reaching, flexing the foot. Now as you exhale, tuck the belly towards the spine as you round into this tiger movement. So inhale, we're going to stretch back out again, lengthening the spine. And exhale, tuck the belly towards the chest, or tuck the belly towards the spine. And let's continue that, right? With that refinement of noticing that strength of hugging in our core and then releasing it. Good. Let's take this moment to place that right leg down, right, shifting our awareness to left hand and right shin, pressing downwards. As you do, you'll notice a drawing in and up of the core, extending right arm, left leg. Checking out the balance between foot and hand on both sides. Left hand, right shin, equal weight. And then the breath arrives in, and let's notice here, where's the strength and vitality? So as you press down and you lengthen, you start to refine and feel. Let's take one more breath. Let's lower that right hand down. Keep extending the left leg, reaching, breathing and looking out. Now really bring the attention down to the core and hug the knee in towards the belly, exhaling. Inhale to stretch back out. Exhale, rounding the spine. Good, so just continuing those movements to really start to connect to what supports the musculoskeletal system. And let's take this last one. And bringing that shin back to the floor, right? We'll take a look forward, inhaling, coming back into child's pose as you exhale. Good. Just recovering the breath. We'll start to feel again, both shins on the earth, pressing down, tops of the feet. Draw your heart space forward to cow pose. Wrap the shoulder blades onto your back. Inhaling. Curl your toes under. Let's come into a downward dog. Lift your hips high. Bend your knees and bring the sitting bones nice and high. Good. So as you hold this downward dog, there's a connection as we bring our belly towards our thighs, right? The lower ribs are landing there. We're bending our knees in this downward dog. And keep our head between our elbows. Good. So as you do this, start to feel then how the belly pulling up towards our sitting bones or towards our spine takes our weight back into our heels, back into our legs, rather than too much in our hands. Right, and we're going to feel this really deep in our hugging of the belly. So find what supports our posture. So slowly take your knees back down. So we're going to do this really slow. Right, we're going to keep our knees at a hover. Right, pressing into the balls of the feet. Start to feel and sense. Right, as you tuck the tailbone. And breathe. Good, we'll go ahead and bring our knees back down and look forward. Pause for a moment. And moving dynamically between cow and dog. So let's try that out. So take a look forward. Breathing in, exhaling back to downward dog. Just keeping a slight bend in the knees, right? So we're gonna move back and forth and really feel that connection to earth. Not letting the knees plop down, but slowly with your breath, feeling that core connection. next time you come back up into downward dog, pause and hold. Maybe sink your heels a little bit more, straightening the knees just slightly if that's available to you, right? Nice deep breath in, deep breath out, right? Finding the shape of your body by pressing into the balls of your feet and the palms of your hands, right? Even pressing into the thumb and the index finger to give stability to the forearm and the wrist. And then let's lower down for a moment and come into child's pose. Right, drop the forehead to the earth. Just recovering the breath. Good. Coming back up onto all fours. And this time coming into your version of plank pose. Could be on your knees, could be in full plank, bringing your hips forward and finding that core stability. So wherever you are, if you're in full plank, pressing down into the balls of your feet, let your thighs lift, right? So thighs are moving upwards. We're activating the lower legs. And bringing your heart space forward so that we're moving between the elbows, where the energy is moving forward. We're looking forward. Start to refine and notice that building sensation, the ojas. Good. The next time you exhale, press back into your downward dog. And let's move between the two. All right, so breathing in, sliding forward into plank, and exhale back into downward dog. Or if you're in that modified version of plank, you could just go back to child's pose. So let's try that back and forth a few times. And then lower your knees and back into child's pose. Recovering the breath. Good. So for some of these postures, to build the strength in your torso, at some points we'll have the belly lock and the pelvic floor lock, and the breath will be in the upper body, right? So because we'll have some compression of the lower belly and the pelvic floor, so we'll be breathing more up in our torso, always with the breath, never holding the breath. So as we come forward, let's move into a modified side plank. We're going to bring the left leg under, right leg extends, right arm reaches overhead. Slide the pelvis forward and underneath you, extending the arm, reaching, and maybe lifting, right? So scapula, slide down your back and engage these lats, the latissimus dorsi, so these muscles that surround our lower ribs. We draw our belly in, spin our right ribs up, and then our breath is more up here, right? We're expanding our breath, right? Staying with this. And then let's take a little dynamic movement. So we bring in the air element, right? Air is moving. We start to reach, right? We could drop the leg, drop the arm, and then bring them back together as you exhale. Right? Feeling the stability of earth, but also the expansion of the air and space element. So good coming into spring to wake up the body, start to move right out of that kapha. Too much kapha in spring can be congesting, too much earth and water. So the movement adds some air. Good. We'll touch that foot to the floor. Find again your side plank. Arm reaches up and over. Take a few nice deep breaths. Good. We'll circle that top arm down and around. And just walk our hands to the front, right? So we're straight out. Left hand straight out from your left knee. So a little variation on our side plank. Right leg is out to the side, right? And we're going to take a twist, right? So our hips remain neutral, but we're going to spin our right ribs up. Good. And let's do this a little more dynamically. We're going to slide that right arm. Just reach underneath for a little small rotation. Take the inhale to spin your right ribs up, spinal rotation. Exhale to reach under, just a little, and then inhale, reaching up. Good. Notice the muscles of the oblique muscles, the sideways. So this is kind of the corset that stabilizes our torso, part of the muscles that do. And they're providing that support in our twist. Synergists. And let's bring that hand back down to the earth. Good. Slide your right leg in. Take your right hand to the side and we'll do our side plank on the other side. Right, find the stable base to start. So we're going to slide the pelvis right underneath, bringing the hip forward, right hand under the shoulder. Right, so notice the bones, right? Stack your arm bones right up into your shoulder joint. Extend the other arm right here. So horizontal abduction from the body. So expansion, finding that stability, lifting that leg, right? Moving into that awareness of our strength and ojas. We're going to hold for about 3 breaths right here. And the pose never ends, right? You continue to feel it. You refine how your muscles, your bones are actively finding a place of stability, but also movement and a bit of exploration. And let's add that air element, just moving, right? Breathing in, reaching up and over, dropping the leg, and exhaling, touching the leg, lifting it. Let's try that out with your breath. Now the wind is blowing all over here. The air element is very apparent. Shifting and moving in the atmosphere, my mat moving with the wind. But I also feel that we smell the earth, the springtime earth and that dampness, so the earth and water element. And this last one. And then touch that foot down. Right, let's walk our hands forward. So our right hand is straight out from our right knee. Right, almost like you're in table, but we have the left leg that slides out to the side. Right, taking a twist, we're going to spin our left ribs up and reach back. But think about keeping our pelvis stable, right? So the spin comes from the lumbar up, right? Our extended leg is pressing down, leg is active. Exhale to slide under. Inhale to stretch up. And exhale to slide under. Staying with the pressure into the right hand, left foot as we move our body, right? We move, but we also provide form and stability. And we'll just land that left hand down. Walk both hands to the other side of your mat, to the right, right? Coming back into table. Take a look forward, inhaling. As you exhale, send your hips back, sitting bones back, stretch your fingertips forward, right? And the fingertips press down into the floor. Widen your knees, right? So a little wider as you extend back in your hips. Let's take a breath and move into awareness of Uddiyana Bandha, so the belly lap. So we're going to inhale and just feel that expansion of the belly. As you exhale, press into your fingertips and hug your belly in. And let's do that one more time. Inhale, expanding the belly. And exhale, hug the belly in. And just relax for a moment. Just press your palm, let your palms relax. Maybe do a few wrist circles. Good, so we're gonna come on back up and walk your feet forward. Good, come all the way to a standing posture. So nice and tall. Let's circle our shoulders up, back, and down. Right, lift 360 degrees of the rib cage. So we're in mountain pose. Nice and tall. Good. We'll take a breath, stretch the arms up high, press down into your feet. Clasp your hands, press your palms overhead, right? Tadasana pose, right? Drawing your tailbone down towards the earth, and then just take an exhale and swing the arms over to the side. So just taking side bending Tadasana and hold here. So what supports you in that side bend? Notice the upper leg bones squeezing towards each other, lower bellies hugging in. And let's take a length up, breathing in. And other side. Holding here as all four corners of our feet stay grounded and our thigh bones lift up into the hip joints. Quadriceps are active. Let's take a lift up. Deep breath in, releasing your palms, coming into chair pose. Stepping your toes close together, feet close together. Now here's where about 5 breaths come into play, right? As you hold Utkatasana, right? There's a sending back of your hips and the inner edges of your feet pressing down. And as we lower our pelvis, we lower our sit bones, we're squeezing even more in our legs, our inner thighs. Good. Pause for a moment, noticing your whole body, right? There's a lot of building, maybe feeling of strengthening. Maybe you want to move out of it and then let the breath surround you, fill you, and keep that second wind. And then take a sweep down. Reach all the way up. Step your feet apart and bring your hands back to your heart. take a few breaths like that, just reaching out and up. Oh, that wind feels so nice. Bring your exhale back to your heart. Good. Stepping back into our chair pose. Toes touch if possible. If it's uncomfortable, step your feet about hip width apart, right? Take a reach up to the sky, dropping your shoulders down. Spin your little fingers inward, right? So you see your little fingers in front. And then bending the knees, we're going to come into chair pose. Again, let's bring your hands to your heart. Sitting back to your body's depth. We're going to take a twist here. Two options. We could spin. We're going to keep our connection to our core, but we're going to spin our ribs, our shoulders, and our head towards the left. We could take a hand to the opposite knee, right hand to the left knee, other hand to the sacrum. Could be here. And pause. You could bring your hands together to heart, sinking a little deeper, elbow to the outside of the knee. And here, deep in this twist, right? Pause and breathe. Come back to center. Stretch all the way up. Deep breath, hands to heart. Let's take a reach up again with the inhale breath. Sink back into your chair. Taking your version of the spin to the right. So you might cross. Right, think of the pelvis stable and start to rotate right ribs, right shoulders, and head to the right. Like a revolution on a spit. And then another couple breaths. For some, if you come deeper and bring the elbow to the knee, hands to heart. And we'll come back to center. Feel that? Yeah, that's ojas, that vitality, reaching up and hands to heart. And prana, just feeling that breath move in, exhaling out. Facing the right, stepping our left foot back, warrior one, right? Strong warrior, right? Finding our roots, right? And bringing it together. So as we press down into our feet, we're centering ourselves at the midline of our body by adducting, so drawing our inner thighs towards each other, towards our torso, and also by sending our arms up, spinning our little fingers forward. We're adducting, or we're depressed, or have our scapula sliding down our back. They're kind of depression of our scapula, or moving downwards. Good. And we're going to work with the scapula here. So bending the elbows, just opening the space of the heart, and retracting the scapula by opening up, by bringing our forearms back, and then bringing them forward. So You'll notice this action of scapula abducting or moving towards the midline, and then adducting, moving away. Let's take two more like that. Take a breath in and a breath out. Good. Bringing our hands down, hopping halfway in. Staggered legs, right? Pyramid pose, right? Find our roots and our extensions. So as you press down, find the lift up through the leg muscles and then the extension of the spine. Good. And we're gonna have a real strengthening in our Parsvottanasana pose today. So as we reach out, slowly lengthen your spine. Right, center your weight between your feet, extending out. And without locking that front knee, continue to hold, right? And if you need support, you could bring your hands to your knee or to your thigh. Got lots going on here to support our back, right? So think about that low belly tucking in and a bit of a squeeze of our inner thighs. So we're back to the bandhas, the locks. We're going to let our arms float down and move into warrior three. So shift your weight into your right foot. You could come up a little bit. Back toe touches. And then we'll start to hinge at our hip joints. So find your hip joints and tilt the pelvis, anterior tilt. So we're going to lift that back leg, right? So we're still building here, right? Building these muscles. And arms could be at your sides. And arrive with your breath. Remember, every pose is alive. It keeps going once you arrive there. And then just bring that leg back, down, reach all the way up. Deep breath, hands to heart as you exhale. Good, we're going to try that on the other side. Right foot back into warrior one. Step way back, find a steady ground, right? So both feet are flat and we're able to feel the 10 toes, but especially that outer back little toe down on the ground. And then we're squeezing thighs gently towards each other. Just a little action in of abduction and then up, right? So a rise through your crown and several breaths. Your front knee is moving forward, your back foot is pressing down. Good. Let's bend the elbows. Let's take 3 breaths to find the scapular movements. So adding the air element, a little movement. We're going to open up and close. Right, forearms reaching back. Horizontal abduction. Exhale, bringing our forearms together. And with that same awareness of this center for our movement, we're going to hop that back foot in, right? So we move from our center, coming into a pyramid pose. So staggered feet, right? Roots to rise. Find your hip joints. Take a nice deep breath in. And then reach out, right? Hinging at those hip joints and lengthening the spine, right? Feeling the aliveness. Even take a look around these trees. Provide an example of the strong stability. So I'm thinking of my legs have roots, right? They go deep. And my arms are reaching, just like the branches of the tree, reaching for the sun, reaching for the sky. Take another breath. Good. If you bring hands to heart, and we're going to just come back up. Shift into your left foot. Tap forward. Good. Still with the roots down, we're going to start to extend in a different direction in our warrior three. Virabhadrasana 3. So hinge from your hip joints. Maybe start to tip forward. You can explore your balance. Right, keep arriving in that pose. So continue to use that connection to your core. Movement comes from our core. So as we come back up, right, tuck the tailbone. Feel that connection to your core. Slightly tuck and press down to rise. And come back to your center by hands to heart. Let's take a few deep breaths like that. Reaching out, inhale, exhale, hands to heart. And we're going to step wide and add a little of that watery or more air element. So air has movement. It's light, mobile, it's dry, light, and mobile. So it's a little different than water. And it touches down and then it shifts and it changes. So just kind of feel that in your spine. So we're just going to slide the spine back and forth, not really landing anywhere. Right? It could be kind of watery, but right, just make it light. So you might not go too low. You could just kind of lead with your side ribs, lead with your elbow. Right? Just feeling movement in your upper body. Shifting your weight side to side. Light, mobile, and free, right? Air is moving and spacious. Good. All right, let's just take a stretch overhead and holding with our hands, toes turned out. I'm going to take a little more of that air movement, just right, big circles, like turning a wheel. So take that hands towards the earth. Inhale up the other side. Exhale around. Inhale up. And exhale. Just making it light, mobile, nothing heavy. Let's try the other direction. We'll come back to neutral. I'm standing in a bit of a wide-legged stance. I'll step in about hip width apart and a little bit wider than hips. And tall in your spine and just kind of relax your joints. Bend your knees, but keep that central channel of energy. So we're nice and tall and breathing. So we're going to find the roots to rise again through sunrise, sunset, which is a qigong movement, but clasping your hands and just finding, we're bringing the energy of the earth right up through our torso. So now we're starting to link our stability with our expansion, and then we're going to press our palms up, and then we're going to reach out just like a sun sets over the horizon, just reaching out. So we embody all our qualities of earth, water, fire, air, and space. Bring the earth up through the body, pressing the palms up. Inhaling and exhaling, reaching out, touching earth, coming back up. And in this movement meditation, our awareness begins to feel with that vitality through our legs, through our core, and then it feels the expansion of prana as we move towards the sky. Expansion of energy of the air and space element. So feel stability and expansion. Then we'll come all the way back up to standing and just feel that for a moment, right? Let your arms hang by your sides. Soften your knees. Check in with how you feel. I'm going to take our practice back down to the earth, right? Coming into seated and coming right into cross-legged Sukhasana. Needing more stability and form. We're going to use our block, right? So coming with our knees in front, I'm going to squeeze that block between your knees, finding your Navasana or boat pose. So for some, you could just be here, squeezing that block, keeping that lift in your lower back, right? Dropping your shoulders. And this might be some challenge, right? As we start to lean back a little bit, just staying right here. And for others, you may also lift the legs, right? We come into full boat. Keep lifting the lower back. Hug the lower belly in, and the breath moves in the upper torso. Good, let's lower back down. And come upright. Let's take a breath. Good, feeling your solid form. We're going to slide our hands back into table or upward plank Purvottanasana. And the fingertips could be facing forward or they could be out to the side, whatever works for you. You could have your hands on two blocks if that's more comfortable. We're going to bring our feet to the floor. And again, there's a lot of roots to rise, right? So our theme of form and then expansion. So we're going to press down into our feet, Knees over the ankles, straight out from the hips. Press into your palms, right? Lifting your hips. And then a bit of a noticing of all the whole upper leg. We want to feel 360 degrees. So the inner thighs are gently pulling inward a little bit, right? So we feel inner thigh and into pelvic floor. Taking several breaths. Let everything fade away. And then lower back down. Right, coming into seated. And pause. Nice deep breath in and out. Just kind of receive the sensations of building or ojas. And we're going to come into a spinal twist. So just stretching your legs straight out in front. So just to kind of align and refine that energy in the body, a gentle twist. So we're going to slide our left leg in, right? Coming here, heel towards the groin, or you could cross the foot over and kind of lift up, right? So find the perineum pressing down, like the pelvic floor pressing down to earth. Roots to rise, so then find the crown of the head lifting. Left arm behind, right arm reaching, right? So here, spine lift, inhaling. Now start to spiral from those left ribs, right? Left ribs start to spin, right ribs come around. You could wrap around that thigh and gently hug in, nothing too firm, right? So we're not stoking our pitta or our fire right now. We're just kind of, we're starting to move more energy through the entire torso. So let's take a few breaths to, notice this place in your body. Where is it intense? Where is it more open? I'm going to spin back, forward, just a gentle twist to the other side, leaving the leg just as it is, but just kind of let your torso recoil on the other side. And then come back. Right, stretch the left leg out, right, coming up into your Dandasana pose. Nice tall spine, right leg slides in. Good, same thing on the other side. So lifting, right, finding spinal length, roots to rise, sitting bones pressing down, right arm behind, left arm to sky, right. And with an exhale, slide the arm around the knee and wrap. Just taking 3 breaths to keep the pose alive, right? Keep the awareness on the adjustments of lengthening upwards with your inhale and a gentle pulling into the belly on your exhale. And a hugging of the knee towards the chest or belly. And then we'll spin back to front and just take a releasing kind of recoil twist to the other side. And come back to center. Right, we're going to stretch that right leg out. Inhale, reaching forward. And then slowly, let's come onto our back. So we're going to take about 3 breaths. Right, press your legs down. Keep the legs active, right? Flex the toes back towards the shins. Squeezing the legs together. But we're going to find with each breath the pubis towards the navel, right? So that real low belly. Transverse abdominis. Let's take another breath. Come all the way onto your back. Right, stretch out, full body stretch. And as you exhale, let's bring our knees back in and just give them a squeeze. And holding the kneecaps, we could take some circles. Right, so adding some movement in. Good, so we'll take one more circle here. And then try the other direction. Good, as you come back to neutral, pause. And just hug your right shin into your belly, slide the left leg out. Just coming into Apanasana pose. Now we're starting to allow that energy to move through our body with each breath. So we're slowing down, we're letting go of some of our effort here. And reaching that leg out, stretch the arms out. And other leg comes in, left leg comes in. Just a gentle holding, right? Nothing too strong. Starting to unwind and just let go of our effort. So there could be a little bit of movement, a little bit of the air, lightness and mobility in your stretch. And then coming back to neutral, bring our feet to the floor and taking a slight inversion here. We might come to a variation of shoulder stand, half shoulder stand. Being careful of your neck and shoulders if this is available to you. First option might be just to raise your legs, right? Come into this variation of shoulder stand where we just leave our hips down. Second option is to support our hips and extend the legs up. Maybe keeping the hips a little bit lower rather than full shoulder stand, which is what I do. I have just something in my neck that doesn't like full shoulder stand, so I keep it to half shoulder stand. Good. There's a lot of action of supporting our hips, but also drawing our tailbone, kind of lengthening our tailbone towards our heels, right? So we're not sitting like this, releasing the pelvis, but we're lengthening our tailbone up.